So you may want to find a cushion or a blanket to get yourself comfortable, and we'll just sit for a few moments to settle in. Thank you. Okay, good to see you. Thanks for popping online. And I'll teach this one today in English, and I'll also offer another yoga for rejuvenation in French. Instead of going back and forth, and that'll calm my mind as well without going back and forth. Hi from Mommy. My mommy's on the line. Hello. So fun to see her, have your support. And so as people are popping on, so Mom, are you sitting there? Oh, and Janice as well. So I don't know if Janice and my mom are going to be cheersing each other with their Friday at 5 glass of wine or cup of tea, or if you're actually going to be doing the practice with us. Either way, I love you, and I'm so happy that you're here. Okay. So however you want to participate in this practice is completely up to you. Whatever is going to balance you, mind and body. We all have our own formulas and our own flows, and I completely respect and honor that. Okay, so the intention, namaste, the intention of our practice here together on this Friday flow is to have a practice really, how do I put this? To honor, let's say, our mind and our body. Now, we're seeing a lot of physical practices on social media, which are wonderful. We do need the physical exercise for our body to stay strong, to improve our posture, to have our energy. But it's important to not overly stimulate the body, just as it's important not to overly stimulate the mind. And so the motivation or the inspiration for this session here today is because 2 days ago, I started just checking in with my own energetic currents, just kind of sense what I was feeling, just like I reach out to many of you who are here today and we say, hey, how are you, to our friends and our family. Do we take that time also to tune in to say, how are you, really to our own hearts and our own minds and our own bodies, to be able to discern what the inner currents are saying? Some days we have really calm inner currents in our body, mentally and physically. And other days it's like a massive tsunami hits and we feel turbulent. And so at the end of the day on Wednesday, I started feeling this little bit of shakiness inside and a little bit more fatigue. I was noticing it was taking me longer to concentrate on some things than it normally would. And so when I later that evening, when I got onto my yoga mat and I tuned in and I just said, what would honor me right now? And the word restoration came up for me. And I'm somebody, those of you know me, I love to move and I need to move and I like being outdoors. But I realized that this week and everything that we've all been living collectively has taken us really out of our comfort zone. And so I've been probably pushing the limit a little bit to support a lot of you in my community and a lot of teaching lately, which I adore. And this is my complete mission in life, is to assist people to be conscious creators of their well-being in body, mind, heart, and spirit. Yet, regardless of what we all do here in a lifetime, we all need to learn to honor and restore our balance. And so I realized in the symptoms that I was feeling, it wasn't physical fatigue. I felt good physically, but I felt fatigued mentally. And so I turned to the teachings of some of the great yoga teachers that I've learned from over almost 30 years and kind of dove into yoga for mental fatigue, to be able to rest and rejuvenate our brain, our body, and our mind. And so I designed this practice this week, and I've practiced it a couple of times myself, and it made a world of difference. Just in taking me down a few notches, in feeling more calm, more harmonious in my mind and my body. And so we're definitely, maybe I can speak for you as well, but I know for me that I'm a better version of myself when I'm calmer and I'm centered and I'm more relaxed. And I think that, you know, it's so easy to get out of touch with our natural human rhythms, our internal biological and physiological rhythms, when we're solicited so much mentally from different sources. And, we have responsibilities in our life as well. And so sometimes we overdo it physically. Since my mom's on the line, I can say this. Remember, Granny would always say, "You do too much, dear." So her words just kind of popped into my head. So it's a slowing down is also a discipline. I know it is for me because it's easy for me to speed up and I like being in action. But I need to discipline myself sometimes to slow down. And so that's what this practice is all about, that we will move through together today, is to learn how to breathe more slowly, learn how to move more slowly, to train our central nervous system to re-find its vital, essential balance. So we'll move into that together. And yoga teaches us really to still a restless mind. And there's the second sutra on yoga that comes forth for me right now, the Chitta Vritti Nirodha, which means calming the fluctuations of the mind. So calming the fluctuations of the mind to create more space between our thoughts, create more space between each breath, create more space between each one of our movements. And so it's taking a pause before acting, before speaking, before making a decision or a choice. And yoga really teaches us that sense of stillness so that we can be more discerning. We learn to be the observer. We don't get caught up in the thoughts and the preoccupations and the drama and the news and everything else that's going on that's being thrown at us. We can kind of learn to breathe, take a step back, be the observer, like we're the witness up here somewhere, watching all this stuff that's happening in our own lives and collectively, globally, and detach and learn to accept what is. And these are all parts of our yogic teaching. So it doesn't mean we have to like what's going on, because we may have an opinion about what's happening or what's not happening. So we don't have to like or dislike something. It's just a matter of learning how to detach so that we can conserve our vital energy, so that we're not in depletion mode when we're in past and future thoughts all the time and the mind is busy and agitated. That consumes an enormous amount of energy. Whereas when we learn to slow things down through the breath, and that link between the mind and the body is our breath. When we learn how to work with our breath, then we're more present. We observe what's happening in our body, and we can tune in to those subtle messages and those beautiful songs that our body is singing to us every day and go, "Oh, that's interesting. I'm feeling a little shaky, or I'm feeling heavy, or I'm feeling more agitated or more impatient than usual." Those are my stress barometers when my body talks to me, or my lower back or my joints start hurting me. I go, wow, okay, so what does that mean? I need to just restore balance. And that might be having a hot bath. It might be just tuning out, being with friends. For me, it's coming to my mat and my yoga cushion. It just is my reset button. So on that note, that's the theory of kind of where we're heading here. I invite you now to close your eyes, have a seat. You might be sitting in a chair. You might be on a cushion. However you choose to do this practice, we're going to be on our back in the first part of the practice. We'll do a little standing, but it's mostly floor-based. So have a cushion close by, get a blanket, make yourself comfy. And as you close your eyes, find a position that's comfortable for you where your spine is nice and long. And take 3 deep breaths. Inhale through the nose, exhale through your mouth with a gentle sigh. And do that a couple of times. Just inhale through the nose. And as you sigh and exhale, let out any sounds that want to come out. Just taking off whatever weight you've been carrying on your shoulders. And allow this time for you to tune out from your outside world and to start to make your way into your inner world, into your heart, into your center. And allow your own current to rise. So I'm offering the intention of this class to be about yoga for mental fatigue. So rest the brain, rejuvenate the body and the mind is what this is all about. But perhaps there's a word that rises for you internally of, if you were to ask the question to yourself, what would honor me right now? From a soul perspective, not what your mind needs, what your body needs, but can you go deeper? Your heart and your soul, what would really nourish you to make you feel good? And it may be a layer or an aspect of your being that you don't explore very often. In yoga, we call that the koshas. There's many layers. And so we're going into deeper layers beyond the mind, beyond the body, into the heart, into the bliss state, where we don't have access to that when we're too busy in our minds. So now I invite you to cultivate the Ujjayi breaths. You're going to inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. But if Ujjayi, which means ocean-sounding breath, is unfamiliar to you, you may want to practice with your mouth, just like you're closing the throat a little bit. It's that, some people call it the Darth Vader breath, where you're kind of sucking in the air and there's a sound that's created. And when you go, it's a similar breath if you wanted to clean your glasses or fog a mirror. It's a, you feel the warmth of your breath. So that gentle sound or that hissing sound in the back of the throat that's created is called Ujjayi. Ujjayi, ocean-sounding breath or victorious breath. So we're going to use this throughout our practice, which is why I'm inviting you to kind of get a sense of that now. So inhaling, and when you get used to it through your mouth, you just close your mouth, and you'll still feel that air swirling through the back of your throat. There's an expansion. We breathe in from above. All the thoracic cage is opening and expanding. And as we exhale, the whole mid-thoracic cage closes, your collarbones start to deflate, and the belly draws in at the ends. You're scooping the abdomen in to let all the air out. Try that a few times. Maybe through the mouth if you're not used to it. Feeling the expansion and the contraction as you exhale. If you're used to it, close the mouth part way and you'll kind of get that sense. So it's not just a sniffing breath. You'll get dizzy quickly. If you do that, it's really a throaty. It allows you to inhale more deeply and more expansively when you breathe the Ujjayi way. And then you exhale, same thing. So what we're going to do as we bring movement into the practice is synchronizing the same rhythmic evenness of the inhale and the exhale with the movement of our body. And when we're agitated or stressed, you'll notice it's hard to take a long, deep, slow breath in. But as your nervous system begins to regulate, it's easier to lengthen the breath. And you're not forcing that. It'll just start to happen as you be the witness and you observe the breath. So I don't want you to force or strain. Steady flow of the breath and the body movement. Good. So when you're ready, and you feel that you've gotten that breath rhythmic, let's lie down onto our backs. You might want a cushion under your head to support you. And we're going to practice that with a little bit of movement on our back. So we'll just begin with some pelvic movement. Come down onto your back. Let me just check in. Good. If you're on your yoga mat, find the center of your mat right now. Your feet flat on the floor, about hip distance apart. Arms alongside of your body, shoulders down, chin drawn slightly into your chest to lengthen the back of your neck. Now begin some gentle pelvic movement, so rocking the pelvis forward and back. And once you get that movement, try to synchronize it with your breath. So where there's no breath, there's no yoga happening. It's that beautiful marriage of the two together here. So as you exhale, flatten the back towards the floor. Still with that Ujjayi breath. And as you inhale, rocking the pelvis forward. So you'll feel that the hip bones will move back, the pubic bone will elevate, and then you'll move in the other direction where the pelvis moves upwards, so the pubic bone descends and the hip bones lengthen and lift. So it's inhale, Ujjayi breath, and exhale. So there's a difference if you're just doing the movement and your mind is elsewhere. This is the practice to tame the mind with the inhale and the exhale. So begin with small, simple movement, and you may want to continue doing that. I'm going to invite you to go deeper into a articulating bridge. So breathing in as you arch the lower back. As you exhale now, begin to flatten the back and elevate the pubic bone upwards as you lift the hips up off the floor, coming onto the mid-back. And then just roll yourself back down vertebrae by vertebrae, all the way back down to neutral. So now can you do that with your breath? Slowly lifting and lengthening as you lift the pelvis up. And then exhaling, lowering vertebrae by vertebrae, all the way back down to the floor. Ujjayi breath. Peeling one vertebrae at a time like a link of pearls, coming up until you feel your mid-back supporting you without straining the head or the neck. And exhale, same speed of movement on the way down. So filling your lungs gradually. Take your time to fill your lungs so that by the time you get to the top, you can still breathe in a little bit. And by the time you come back down to the bottom and your hips are on the floor, you can still breathe out a little bit. So let's do that 3 more times. That means your breath movement is actually longer than the body movement. And you'll need to adjust perhaps the speed of your body movement until you feel that synchronization that goes with the breath. Vertebrae by vertebrae, one at a time, pressing evenly through both of your feet on the way up. Feeling the rib cage expand as you fill the lungs and then gently starting to deplete and deflate. Now, after your last one, take a pause, find that neutral pelvis, and we'll hug the right thigh in towards the chest. Same breath movement. As you exhale, hug the right thigh towards you, squeezing the air out of the belly. And as you inhale, allow your thigh to move away from you. So Apanasana, it's just this very gentle exhaling of drawing the knee to the chest, compressing the abdomen. So it's stimulating very gently here the ascending colon, your liver. It's great for improving the circulation to our internal organs. And your rhythm here is following the rhythm of your breath again. So Ujjayi is like this for me. I would inhale. And I exhale, draw it closer. Wonderful for hip mobility, sacroiliac joint, lumbar spine. Very gentle for your knees. And this could be a go-to move that you do anytime during the day when you just need to get still and start to bring circulation gradually into the spine, upwards the spinal cord to your brain. We'll do that one more time. And then you can extend your right leg straight up, interlacing the fingers behind the leg. Point and flex your foot now with your breath. So inhale, point your foot. And exhale, flex your foot. Let the rest of your body relax. Inhale, point. And exhale, flex. Now, sometimes I just like to explore the ankle. If the calves or the ankles feel tight, maybe you want to do an inversion, eversion of the ankle. So when your foot is in a flex position, your toes towards you, you can even move the ankle around a little bit side to side. How does that feel? Even circles. This is your practice. So as long as your breath is steady and even, exploring the movement here, this is a joint-friendly practice today. Nice and steady and smooth. Good. Now hold and lengthen through the stretch. Press the heel upwards towards the ceiling. And then you'll exhale, bend your knee, place your hands on the shins and squeeze the air out of the abdomen again. Now repeat. Inhale, lengthen the leg. You can change the position of your hands. And then exhale, slowly draw that right thigh towards you. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, flexion of the knee, slowly pulling it in. You choose your range of motion here. If your legs feel a little tight, maybe your leg's going to be lower down. So we're not struggling or straining to get somewhere. We're simply exploring sensation in our body. This is a way of getting to know what's tight, what's flexible, where we're holding on to patterns of tension within our body, and where there is optimal circulation of blood flow, lymphatic flow, and pranic flow. So one more time like that. So you're inhaling slowly and deeply as you extend. Exhaling, pulling it back in. And when that's complete, position your right foot back down on the floor. And let's do the same thing on the other side. Readjust your pelvis. You might want to lift and lower at one time. And then start to hug the left thigh towards you. Okay, so remember, simple movement first. We inhale, allow the thigh to move away from you. And as you exhale, gently hug it towards you. Inhale, send it away. And exhale, draw the thigh towards you. Ujjayi breathing through the nose, in and out. Rhythmic, steady flow. Now you're scanning your body as you're doing this. You're observing what's happening in your sacroiliac joint, what's happening through the hip or the front part of your thigh or the lower back. These are all areas that are being encouraged to mobilize as we do this position, inhaling and exhaling. And this is how we steady and tame the mind in yoga, where we concentrate fully. And you may notice thoughts that move in and out, which is normal, especially to an undisciplined mind, and we all have one. So it's a matter of coming back all the time to the breath and the movement, so that your breath movement is longer than your body movement. And then we'll do that a couple more times before changing positions, feeling the flow of the breath. It's amazing as you start to relax how we do start to remember things. The brain becomes more efficient and somehow recalls, those things that we forgot. That's why I'll keep sometimes a pad and a pen beside my yoga mat, write them down so I can let them go and come back to the breath. So let's extend the legs straight up to the ceiling now. Hug the back of your thigh with your hands and just start some gentle foot movement again with the breath. Pointing, breathing in, flexing the ankle, breathing out. Pointing. Now your breath might be faster or slower than the rate that I'm breathing at. So you find your own flow. And if you feel that, wow, that really pulls in my ankle or my calf muscles or the back of the thigh, maybe you want to hold the flex position and do a little inversion, eversion, side-to-side motion of your foot or circles of the foot. And what we had done on the right side may feel completely different on the left side. Sometimes it's like living in two different bodies where we hold tensions in one side where we don't on the other. We feel stronger and more stable on one side more than the other. Good. So once you've moved the ankle around a little bit, let's include the knee flexion extension. So when you're ready to exhale, catch your tibia or the lower leg and hug your thigh towards your descending colon, your belly now. Inhaling, extending the leg up. Foot pointed is going to be less intense than the foot flexed. So you may want to try a different foot position each time. Yoga is about curious exploration, observing our bodies right now, getting more supple, more resilient. Last week we talked about resilience, and yoga is a wonderful way to keep our bodies and our nervous systems more resilient, to handle all that comes our way with greater ease. It doesn't mean that things are easier in life. It just means that we have the tools to navigate our way around our calm days and our stormy days. So same thing here. We're synchronizing breath and body movement, stimulating the lower abdomen, the internal organs on the left side of our body now. Flowing, filling the lungs on the way up until the breath, you're finished your movement. There's still a breath to go in, and then we're completing the movement here, and there's still a little breath to go out. So keep that in mind, regardless of the movement and flow. This is all slow flow. flowing breath and body movement. So the breath is longer. And I feel my hip is really loosened nicely doing this repeatedly. In Hatha yoga, we often move through postures dynamically before statically, just to allow more circulation through the connective tissues, suppling up the body. Good. When that's done, let's release. Extend your legs now completely on the floor. Okay, get yourself comfortable so that your sit bones or the back of your SI joint are comfortable on the mat. Arms alongside of the body. Walk your fingers to your heels. Now let's just take 5 breaths with the foot movement. So inhale, point your toes, point your feet. Exhale, flex your feet, just pedaling them here. So continue just moving through the ankles. This is the very first movement I do when I wake up, usually in the morning. I'm still lying in bed where I'm in that half state between sleepiness and awake. And I'll just start this movement, pointing and flexing, which is nice for all the nerves from the lower spine that innervate the lower body. We're starting to stimulate them very gently. Breathing in, breathing out. And then keep your feet in a flex position after your next one. Do the same thing with your arms. Now, brace your belly and your abdominal area a little bit here so you feel firm through the abdomen. Soft, heavy arms. Let's inhale and float the arms up overhead. You might want to stretch here. The first time I do it, I usually like to push my heels alternatively forward, right side, left side, and even opposite arm. So if I'm pressing in to my left heel, I'm trying to lengthen my left fingertips up a little bit higher. And then same thing with the right heel. I'll stretch the right heel away from me and reach my right fingertips away. It feels really nice. And so when you're ready to exhale again, even out your feet and your pelvis and then lower the arms back down. Now we're going to synchronize this a couple of times with the feet. So flex your feet, so pull your toes back towards you as you float your arms upwards overhead. And as you exhale, we'll start to release the feet or pointing the feet as the arms come back down alongside of the body. Now, can you synchronize it so that the feet and the arms end at the same time? And the same thing when you're going to exhale, the arms and the feet will complete their motion at the same time. Try that a few more times. Inhaling, floating the arms up while flexing the ankles and the feet. Exhale, floating back down. Still practicing your Ujjayi breath through the nose, filling the lungs. Now, if that's a little tense on the shoulders, if your shoulders or upper back are tight, you might want to go in a V formation with the arms, straight up in line with the shoulders. Might be a little intense in the beginning, so go nice and wide. Okay, we'll do that one more time. Breathing in with the feet and the arms completely, so there's no movement without breath. You might need to adjust your motion. Let's go deeper, my friends. We'll try that again, but this time alternating an arm and leg. So pointing both feet to begin. Now let's go with the right arm and left leg. So left foot is going to flex, right foot is going to stay pointed. So inhale now, elevate your left leg off the floor as your right arm moves upwards overhead. And as you exhale, float the leg and the arm back down, bracing the belly. Do the other side. So flex now your right foot and point your left foot. Inhaling, arm and leg elevate at the same time. And then descend at the same time. Keep going. Flexed left foot, left leg, right arm. Inhaling all the way as far as you can go. And then exhale, slowly lowering it back down. The inhale is what carries the arm and the leg up. The exhale is what carries the arm and the leg back down. Keep going, bracing the abdominals. Inhale up. And see if you can get your arm and your leg to come back to the floor at exactly the same moment. They lift off the floor at exactly the same moment. They follow the same pace. And the exhale, they follow the same pace through that range of motion all the way back down. Try that again, each side. Now, this alone can take a lot of practice. There's a lot of things happening here. The breath movement is longer than the body movement, and we're synchronizing opposite arm, opposite leg, which is nourishing your central nervous system, stimulating your brain. So you have to concentrate on that. It's hard to think of anything else while you're doing that movement. Final time. When you're completed, you can pull your knees back into your chest. Good. So 3 times, go back to the bridge, feet on the floor, arms overhead, bridge on an inhale. Feet to floor, arms overhead, bridge pose, inhale. And then the exhale brings you all the way back down. Catch your knees to your chest. Try that on your own a few times. At the same moment, the feet touch the floor, the arms are extended up. When the mid-back comes to the floor, your arms are about mid-height, and the end of the out-breath, you've caught your shins and draw the thighs back in towards you. So full breath in on the expansion and full breath out on the contraction. I'll let you complete one last time. How are we doing out there? Good. All right, so we're going to change this up a little bit here and start to do a little rock and roll motion. We're going to rock and roll into a bound angle. So you've got a few options of hand positions. You can either take your hands behind your thighs, at your mid-shin, or at the outer edge of your feet. Each one is a little bit more difficult. You really tuck your chin into your chest. Try to round your spine. Give yourself a little momentum to begin, and then roll, rock and roll. At least 5 times, but anywhere between 5 and 10 usually feels really nice, massaging the spine. So hands either behind the legs, mid-shin, or outer part of the feet. You choose. And after you've done another couple, this will guide us into bound angle pose, Baddha Konasana. So the feet nice and wide, knees nice and wide, with the base of the feet together. And just take a pause here. Let your knees flutter like a butterfly motion. You can either hold on to your feet, and I always say that this is a great opportunity for a foot massage. So you can bring your tips of your fingers into the joints of the toes on the outside of the feet, and your thumbs can trace some pressure points onto the inside of the feet. Try to get right in between the ball of the big toe joint and the second toe with your thumbs, and just do circular motions here with your thumbs. And you might want to work your way down the longitudinal tendon, right down the center part of your foot to your heels. And explore. So what you're exploring and looking for here are tender points, those trigger points. So when they're tender, that may indicate that there's adherence, tightness, which means that there could be a lack of blood flow, oxygenation to those tissues. So the whole idea of this practice together here today is to promote circulation, to get more energy, circulation, and oxygen to all of the cells and the tissues of our body, which leaves us feeling more alert, rested, and energized. We reclaim our vitality. Good. Just take a couple of more breaths here in this stretch. And then we will come into a crouch position. This is going to bring us into a couple of standing poses before coming back to the floor. So draw your knees back together. You'll find yourself at the top of your mat. Just make a little readjustment here. So come into a crouch position forward. Bring your feet about hip distance apart. Spread your toes nice and wide. Now you might want to manually do that. I like to use my fingers and spread the toes. Really take the time to spread the toes and press into the balls of the feet here. And then you can take your fingertips to the floor and start to lift your hips upwards as though you're going into a forward fold. Make sure you breathe. Plant your heels on the ground. Now keep your knees bent and try to take your torso to both thighs. So you're kind of sitting in a bit of a chair pose with your chest and your belly resting on your thighs. Hug both elbows now with both hands and let your entire torso and spine hang down. Now, this is useful just to feel the weight of your head. Feel the weight of your head pulling down on your spine.
Create space between both vertebrae, or all the vertebrae, I should say, in your neck, your mid-back, down to your lower back. So wiggle your torso a little bit. And take another breath. Get any little cracks out that need to be released. And from here, draw your hands to the back of the ankles with the elbows nice and wide. When you're ready to exhale, see if you can just straighten the legs a little bit more. And as you inhale, bend your knees, almost like you're going into a halfway squat position. And then exhale, forward fold again. Just do that a couple times. So you're bending in the knees, kind of sitting back. And as you exhale, flowing the hips upwards, the crown of the head downwards. Do it again. And we'll change up the movement after the next one. So start to straighten the legs, pedal out, alternatively bend and extend the knees and the legs. Position your hands now on the front shins, on the tibia. Inhale, press into the shins and lengthen the spine halfway forward. And as you exhale, reach for the ankles again, take the elbows wide and forward fold. Now continue that way a few times. Press into your shins, halfway lift forward. And as you exhale, slowly pull the elbows wide, belly to the thighs. So keep going. Now, as you're doing that, I invite you to root down firmly through your feet. And as you root down, you can rise the hips upwards, perhaps a little higher because you're more stable. And gradually, as you repeat the motion, the backs of your legs will accept it and maybe let you go a little bit deeper. Don't force or strain to get somewhere. Just follow to the end range of your breath. Good. We'll do that one more time. Halfway lift. Send the hips back, nice and long through the waist and the side body. Now this time we're going to take the hands to the hips, knees soft, bent a little bit. Press through both feet and let's rise up and position the hands on the lower back. So with the hands on the lower back, elbows draw towards one another. Root down through the feet, firm up your thighs, firm up your glutes, and let's lift the upper chest and the heart towards the sky. Shoulders down, collarbones expanded. So broaden the front part of your chest. Look up. Spread your toes, anchor down into your toes, the balls of your feet and your heels evenly. Take another breath there. And then come back into a mountain pose, which is nice, long, and tall. Good. Let's part the feet now. With the feet pointed outwards, gently. We'll do a little energy flow. So side to side motion. This is wonderful to release all the joints in the lower body. So we've warmed them up nicely. And this is slow, steady flow. Spread your toes. Feel the motion through the ankles, through the knees. Line up your kneecaps with your second and third toe. Bring your pelvis into a neutral position. Pubic bone, hip bones, fairly level here and balanced. Hands on your hips to begin. I invite you to find the balance between the amount of strength that this might require for you and the amount of suppleness. So we're balancing our strength and our flexibility. Sthira Sukha Asanam. One of my favorite teachings in yoga is steadiness with ease. Yeah, good. Now let's extend the arms out to the side, shoulder height. Shine out through the fingertips. Keep the shoulders down. Get all the cracks out. It's amazing how many pops, snap, crackle pops that come out of the body sometimes. Good. Now here we're working through all the nerves through the neck, through the shoulders, the arms, and the fingers. So take a peek where I'm going to go with this. So we bring one arm forward and we press into the palm towards the other hand. And then as we rock back on the legs, we pull the hand towards the ear. We push the hand back to the opposite hand. Now half circle towards the front to open it, half circle towards the front to close. We repeat, pull, push, open, and close. So pull, breathe in, push, breathe out. Breathe in, open, half circle. Breathe out, half circle. Now go on your own. Breathe, steady, rhythmic flow. In, out. In, out. Breathing in,
Push it out. Keep transferring the weight, and you'll find the range of motion that is suitable for your body. As the hips, sacroiliac joint, spine, shoulders get used to it, you may want to explore larger space around you. Try that a couple more times. Good. Now when that's complete, open the arms nice and wide and just do an exhale by your mouth and go, release it all. Float the arms up, touch the hands, and then exhale. Steady flow up, release it down. Anything you need to release, you can do this with a nice little ha sound to let go of any stagnant energy, any thoughts, any things that you should have said that you thought you should have said or that you shouldn't have said. All the ha, let it all go. How about 2 more of those? It's just a nice way to release tension and stagnant energy. Open the arms wide. Beautiful. Side to side again. Good. So steady flow, finding the evenness in your movement. You choose your range of motion, how much intensity you feel you need to bring to it. But remember, there's an evenness. We're not striving. It's not the mind leading, saying you need to get somewhere. It's not how it looks. It's how it feels. So make it feel flowing. Make it feel steady. Make it feel rhythmic and light. Yeah. Now, when you're ready, we'll do the same thing on the other arm. Okay, so we close that half circle, press the palm towards the opposite hand. Reach back to your ear as you transfer the weight. Push back to the other hand, and then open. Close. Pull and push. Open. Close. Pull and push. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Couple more times. After that last one, come back into the center and release. Keep going. Inhale, reach up. Let those hips go. And then the shoulders. Last 2. Last one. Take the arms up and hold. Feel the lungs completely. And exhale, float the arms down in front of you, knees soft. Roll the shoulders back. Step your feet together. All right. Good. Now I invite you to anchor down through the feet. One way to work steadiness and balance in our life is to find balance within our breath and our body. Now the energy might be circulating faster after what we just did. And so we want to steady that by imagining planting roots out the base of our feet. Okay, so plant those roots right down through the base of your feet first so you feel grounded. And then we'll transfer the weight over towards the right foot as a tree pose. So maybe you want to keep your toes of your left foot on the floor or the lower leg or maybe the inner thigh. So find where you can maintain your balance. And there's a little counter pressure, thigh against foot, foot against thigh. If you need a wall space or a chair to help you out, take what you need. So keep rooting down through the foot. Feel a firmness in the lower body. So there's a pulling inwards to the midline, and then we grow tall. Hands to your heart if you wish, or hands above the head. If you're used to practicing tree pose, you might want to go a little bit deeper and feel a greater extension through the tree here. Or hands at the center. You decide how your tree feels and looks today. Follow your gaze on a spot in front of you that's not moving. In yoga, we call that a drishti, or a focus point, to steady the mind. Let the breath flow. At least 5 breaths in our tree pose. When you're ready to release, take your arms back down. If your hands are at your heart, take them to your sides. Knee comes forward. Position the foot on the floor. Good. Transfer your weight now to the other side. Fan your toes. Ground down through the ball of your foot and your heel. You might want to keep the toes on the floor, your ankle. Steady yourself with a wall or a chair if you need. Could be foot on the lower leg or on the inner thigh. And wherever you decide to be, pull everything into the midline of your body. Firm your body up without straining or forcing it. Remember, there's steadiness and ease in all of the poses. Okay. Hands at the heart or arms above your head. Once you find your own steadiness in your body, follow a gaze in front of you that is not moving. This is our drishti focus point. The breath is calm. There's always readjustment. So as we get still, we can feel the lengthening of the spine, the upper ribs moving into the body, the firmness of the drawing in through the pelvic floor, the lower abdomen, the strength that's developing, and the stamina and endurance that requires to hold this pose. Smooth out the breath. Steady and strong. Stillness in mind and body. When you're ready to release, you may want to draw the hands back to the heart if they're not already there. Arms alongside of the body. Take the knee forward and plant the foot back down on the floor. Inhale, float both arms upwards. Dive down with soft knees. Hold the back of your ankles here again, as we did in the beginning, with the elbows nice and wide. Start to draw your abdomen towards your thighs. Scoop the lower belly in as you exhale. Root down through the feet. Rise up through your sit bones. Let the crown of the head move down to the floor. And just feel the breath 3 times. Inhale, you'll allow a little extension. It's almost as though you want to move out of the pose. And as you exhale, perhaps the belly can move closer to the thighs, the elbows wider to lengthen the side part of your body. Scooping the belly in, lifting through the pelvic floor as you exhale. And just finding the extension that's right for you before finally bending both knees. Let's take the hands to the floor beside the feet. Bend the knees and come right down onto your belly. Onto the abdomen now with the feet hip to shoulder distance apart. And we'll start with the fingertips, like you're clawing the floor. Walk your legs back as far as you can. And the anchor point are your 2 hip bones and your pubic bone here and the tops of your feet. So we're well grounded, just like when we were standing, but this time it's our hips and feet. Shoulders roll back. 3 times Cobra waves with breath retention. So take a look. We'll empty the lungs. Inhale, slowly roll up, keeping the pelvis in contact with the floor. And then roll back down on your exhale. 2 more times. Breathing in. Breathing out. The next time you're up, we're going to hold the breath and hold for 3 seconds. So breathe and come up. Fill your lungs. Hold. Exhale, release down. 3 more times. And on the third we hold. We retain the breath and the position. So inhaling up. Exhaling down. Connect to where there is firmness in your body and where there is suppleness in your body. We're not overly exploiting strength or our flexibility. So the next time you're up, please hold. Hold the breath, hold the position. Exhale, release down. Last cycle. 3 times the movement. Hands can be flat maybe now. As your body gets used to it, hands can even come closer. Find your Cobra. We're doing a wide one here with the hands and the feet. It's easier on the spine. Next time you're up, let's hold. Breathing in, hold the position, hold your breath. Exhale, release.
And pause. Arms alongside of the body. Turn your head to one side. Rest. Feel the weight of your body just melt into the floor. Turn your head back to neutral. Let's push up. We'll come to a seated position now. So very slowly push up and back to child's pose. Release your spine. Send your arms forward. Rock your hips side to side a little bit. Come back to the Ujjayi breath. Even, steady flow. Come on up. And let's come to a seated position. How are we doing out there? A couple more postures before concluding into our final resting pose of Shavasana. Can we hang in there still a few more minutes? This practice is so soothing. You could easily do an hour and a half. There's other postures I would include, but I think I'll save those for another day, and we'll just balance it out with some forward folds again, which is so wonderful to calm the frontal mind and the brain, bring circulation through the spinal cord into the head. So this is a posture called Jannuzi Asana. We'll start with the legs extended straight out in front of us, sitting evenly on our sit bones. Bend your right knee and position your right foot to the inner thigh, just like we did in tree pose. But I bet it's easier doing it here, sitting on the floor. So we'll find the breath again. Inhale. As you exhale, walk your hands forward. Foot is flexed, but gently, not too forced. Gazing forward, head and neck soft. Go to the point where you feel a healthy stretch. There's no shaking, trembling, pain, or pinching, but just enough to get sensation in the body. And then we just breathe a few times to let it settle, allow the body to accept the pose. Notice if you can ground through your left sit bone, make sure that your hips are even. Yeah, let's soften through the breath. And then slowly float the hands back. Matsyendrasana is a twist pose. Elevate your right knee, cross your right foot on the outside of the left thigh now. So anchor that foot down into the floor. You might want to start just hugging the tibia, the lower leg, to help draw the torso towards the thigh, getting that compression through the belly. We're going to move through a spinal twist. Let's keep both sit bones anchored into the floor. Now, a couple of options. You might just want to hug your right thigh with your forearm and start to turn. The back hand will come to the floor behind us in the center line. Or if you wish to go deeper, your elbow on the outside of the thigh. And with your fingers pointing straight up. Now, my back hand is on the floor about midline here, in line with the spine. So when you slowly come into a twist, don't force. It's 50% elongation. So when I inhale, I'll use that counter pressure of my thigh and my elbow to help me grow taller. That's a nice breath in. And as I breathe out, I turn. So mid-thoracic spine. So those left ribs are going to come through towards the right side as I turn the head at the same time. Now you'll stay there in stillness. And notice what's happening. I invite you to direct your attention to the area of the forehead between the eyebrows. There's energy channels that extend from the base of the spine right up along the length of the spine that terminate in this area. And we sometimes feel the sinuses release. We can breathe easier through both nostrils when we practice this pose. Really calms the mind, sends energy up to the brain through the spinal cord. It's wonderful for the health of the back. Take another deep breath.
Release any pressure from your head. When you're ready to release, come back the same way you went in. So the arm in the front, re-extend the leg, both arms reach up, anchor your hips and your bum down into the floor. Forward fold, draw your belly towards the thighs, reach out. You might hold the lower legs, the ankles, or the outsides of the feet. Allow the belly to melt towards the thighs, the forehead towards the knees. Breathe into your lower back, your kidney area. Nourish your adrenals, your kidneys. Forward fold is very nourishing for the nervous system, calms the mind. Float the arms skyward to come out of the pose. And take the arms back alongside of the body. We'll do the same 2 postures on the other side. Draw the foot into the inner thigh, just like your tree pose. A little pressure, a lot of lymphatic glands here in the inner thigh. I always feel like I'm going to give my lymphatic system a bit of a massage. Gentle pressure, both sit bones planted into the ground here. And let's walk the hands forward. Breathe in first, lengthen, find space in your body without straining. And as you exhale, melt your body forward. If something intensely speaks to you, stop there. You might even want to inhale and come out of it a little bit. Play with the positioning of your foot. Flexed is more intense than pointed, so you want somewhere in between those 2 extremes. Sthira Sukha Asanam. Sthira, that's steadiness. There's a regularity in your breath and your body. Sukha, lightness, ease, even playfulness. We're doing this because it feels good. Honor your body. Something we all just need to learn. It's not something we're often taught. To respect and honor this body that we're given and to celebrate everything it does for us in a day. It truly is a new perspective and mindset. But energy flows where focus goes. So our body responds to loving, compassionate, empathetic ways of thinking and feeling, as opposed to more judgmental, harsh ways of thinking that can also create tension and dis-ease within the body. Move towards ease. So as you take that final deep breath here in the pose, begin to walk yourself back to the neutral position to prepare for twist. Breathe, let your body settle. It's always a change in blood pressure when you go from up to down. The reason we're doing this sequence today is that we're getting the circulation moving from lower spine, upper spine. So cross your foot to the outside of your thigh, anchor both hips into the floor. Option 1, wrap your arm around the opposite thigh, lengthen the spine. Position your hand behind you, gently twist, drawing the right ribs towards the left side. If you're used to practicing and you want to go deeper, your mid-back allows you to. The elbow on the outside of the thigh, there's a little counter pressure. When you inhale, find the space and distance between each vertebrae. And as you exhale, allow the head to turn, the mid-thoracic spine to turn. That's it. And then again, once you've found that space between the length and just the amount of twist that you need, let your body adapt. We're just the observer. It's sometimes not in the doing that this is happening, right? It's more in the undoing. So what are we undoing right now from your week? What accumulated that was unbeneficial that is ready to be released so that more fresh prana can enter our tissues, more circulation, more well-being, more balance. Keep your attention around the forehead, third eye area. And one of my dear friends teaches, sometimes when I feel pressure in my head building up, he says, just imagine top of your head is like the opening of a volcano. And you're just letting whatever heat or whatever stagnant thoughts or anger, agitation, frustration, impatience just come up from the base of your spine and just flow out the top of your head and is released. I find that a nice imagery to use sometimes if I'm feeling pressure or headache, just to breathe in, lengthen. And as I exhale, imagine that pressure being released from the top of the crown of the head. So thank you, Stefan, for that. Feel your sinuses. Notice any sensation in the face, the shoulders, the chest. Not forcing, just breathing into it. When you're ready to release, start to make your way back to the front. And Paschimottanasana, forward fold. Float the arms up. Create length, melt your body forward, cascade like a waterfall over your legs. Find the space where your hands can rest, lower legs, ankles, or feet. Forehead moves down towards the knees. Breathe into your lower back like you're breathing fresh light, fresh oxygen into your kidneys, your adrenal glands that have been probably overstimulated in some way in these last few weeks, what we've all been living. So let's nourish, replenish, restore our vital essence. Slow down, send breath and energy everywhere in your body that needs to be rebalanced right now. Lead with your heart and your sternum, beginning to rise the torso, float the arms skyward one final time. Create length as you press towards your heels from your sit bones and from your hips up to the fingertips. Just enough firmness in your body without straining or forcing, just enough suppleness in your body without being too soft. Steady with ease, we exhale, release the arms back down alongside of your body. Good. You have earned now Shavasana, which is one of the most important postures in all of yoga practice, is to teach the body to let go now and trust the wisdom of the body to do what it needs to do to restore. There's an intelligence that lives there that knows what to do. Just like when you were in the womb of your mother, we didn't need to force anything or any development to happen. It just happened. So our body has this innate intelligence. We need to get out of our own way for that to happen. So after yoga practice of asana and pranayama, so breathing and movement that we just did, we've opened up a lot of energy channels that might have been blocked before. So now there's a greater flow of circulation. We need the body to just receive it and accept it. If your lower back is vulnerable, you might want to keep your feet wide and knees dropped in on towards one another. Rock your pelvis to find a nice comfortable neutral. Put socks on, put a sweater on, drape a blanket over your body. Make sure that you're comfortable. As I guide you through a gentle body scan into final relaxation to complete our practice. Shake out whatever needs to be shaken out. Generally, when we arrive in Shavasana, we can take a breath or two, a sigh through the mouth. Allow this time now to be a complete surrender as you teach your body how to go into deeper states of relaxation and consciousness. It's not sleep mode, it's that space in between awakened state and sleep state, where a subconscious mind is listening and relearning how to be and interact from a different place of steadiness and ease, of replenishment rather than depletion. Let your hands and fingers soften. Your arms are heavy. You may want to repeat, my shoulders are relaxed. The muscles around my head are released. Include your ears, your eyes, the brow, your cheeks, your jaw, your mouth, and your lips. Swallow to release the throat and the neck. Scan your body downwards where you notice tension. Invite relaxation and calm. Torso is heavy. Allow anything that doesn't serve you anymore to release into the floor beneath you from the upper back, middle back, lower back. Chest and belly relaxed. Allow the front body part of your body to soften. Give your hips, your bum, and your pelvis permission to feel heavy, surrendering its weight to the ground. Feel the thighs release, creating the image of warm wax melting off a candle, like your muscles just melting away from the bone. Knees are softened and heavy. Lower legs and calves relaxed. Ankles, your feet and toes. As I leave you for a few minutes in stillness before bringing you back, repeat in your mind this intention as an affirmation. My body is relaxed. My mind is at ease. My heart is at peace. Very gradually, you can bring movement to fingers and toes, perhaps pedaling the feet as we did in the beginning of practice. Now you're in the comfort of your home. If you prefer to stay in Shavasana, this resting pose, for a while longer, please feel free. This is your practice. If you're ready to come back, we do so always very slowly and mindfully, doing any instinctive stretch, breathing more deeply before moving. You can start to draw the knees back to the chest and roll onto one side before coming back into a seated position. And when you come back into your seated position, allow for a few moments of calm to complete your practice. Hands come to the heart center. Set the intention once again, as you did in the beginning. This was a practice of yoga for mental fatigue, just to reset, rest the brain, to reset the mind and body. You can come back to this practice anytime you need to, or any segment of it that was beneficial for you or that you found helpful. With your head bowed to your own heart, create an intention or a personal promise now for yourself of how you may continue offering yourself self-care. As we're reaching out and supporting so many around us and feeling the vibe around us, we need to always come back and tune in so that we can stay strong and resilient from the inside out. Choose a word that anchors you into that intention. To stay well, to stay balanced. And with a final breath in, we'll complete our practice together. Float the arms skyward. And very gently back to your own center, where you can anchor and come home to anytime you need. Namaste. Namaste, friends. Thank you so much for joining in. If you are mobile right now, please take your time, but if you want to send a little comment, a little hello, a little heart, feel free to share this practice as well with your friends. It will be available on my Facebook page. And to our members of School of Happiness, this was also recorded and will be found in our members platform for you to revisit whenever you need to. And I'll be doing it in French as well for my French participants. So thank you again.